I don't know about you, but not much has changed in just the 4 days since we switched year. But here on Truth to Hear, on Mondays, we have a lot coming for you this week on all the different shows that we have Monday through Friday. For those who are new to this channel, well, let me just tell you what we have. We offer a daily dose of Truth to Hear. We connect you with current events, things that are happening across the country and the world with a guest panel. We also have Bible study and encouraging messages and interviews one on one with people that are dealing with the same things you're dealing with, interests that you may have. So, today we're going to go through this upcoming week, run it down for you, give you a little tidbit of everything, and see where you want to set your reminder. Maybe you want to set your reminder every day at 2 p.m. Or maybe you'd rather just have your reminder for that one show that really piques your interest. Either way, that's fine for me. So let's get going on this week's show. So the first show that we have is Truth Talk, and that is with Bill and Brandy. And they are the guest panel that stay on forever. I guess they're not a guest panel anymore. They're part of the show, and you will love having that conversation with them. Not only can you chat and interact with us, but you can gear our conversation. Last week, we had a gentleman by the name of Mr. Dickinson, and he really gave some insightful understanding of what it was like to live in Finland during the COVID-19. But he also suggested that we look at Elon Musk and his view of Mars and everything going on with that vision for SpaceX. So we took that suggestion, and we are going to tomorrow at 2 o'clock look at the man called Elon Musk. He is an engineer, an inventor, investor, visionary, leader, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. What's that word? Now, we all know a lot about Elon Musk, or we think we do. However, there is some things that we just don't know. Did you know, by instance, he was born in Pretoria, South Africa? I bet you didn't. He also lived in Canada. When he was 17 years old, he moved from South Africa to Canada, and then he went from Canada to the United States. So he has 3 citizenships, one in South Africa, one in Canada, and one in America. And then, we know him for what? Either you know him for Tesla or you know him for SpaceX. But he also has a lot of other companies. He was the original person that founded PayPal. He did sell it at the age, I believe he was 35. And then he went on to produce OpenAI, SpaceX, SolarCity, the Boring Company, and even more things than that. So what are we learning? What are we going to talk about? Why talk about Elon Musk? Because he is someone that has a lot of life lessons. See, it's not only about his successes that we're going to talk about, but it's also about his failures. Do you realize that the most successful people fail? They fail at a lot and they fail often. But the thing is, they don't give up and they don't give in. I like Elon Musk. One of his quotes is that it is possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. You hear that? Ordinary people can. I think it is something to talk about naming your children. I once came across someone whose name was ABCDEF. Actually, no F. It was ABCDE. Absida is the name. If you're on here listening, chat with me. Let me know somebody's name that you know that is just something that is most unusual. How did people react to them? I know when the little girl came to me and she said, "My name is Absida," and I was like, "What?" I didn't think she knew how to spell her name. but it was ABCDE, Absida. So we'll talk about that just on a fun note and talk about some of his quotes. You know, Elon Musk is a historian and he believes in history. And he has this one quote about civilization that it moves in cycles. You can track that back quite far, he says. The Babylonians, the Sumerians, followed by the Egyptians, the Romans, China. We're obviously in a very upward cycle right now, and hopefully that remains the case, but it may not. That's a quote from Elon Musk. We'll talk about that. Are we just repeating history? Are we cyclic in that way, generation to generation, or country to country, civilization to civilization? So a lot to talk about regarding Elon Musk, and a lot to involve you in conversation if you would like to be involved in it. And then after that, what do we have on Wednesday? Wednesday, we have Truth Talk, a conversation. Now, guest speaker, who is it? It's a mystery person as of today, but we'll see. I got a couple of people lined up and just have to seal the one that's going to be here on Wednesday of this week. But coming up next week is going to be Marcus. He was a guest panelist here on Truth Talk when we first started a few months ago. And now, due to scheduling conflicts, he's not able to join us, but he will give us a one-on-one conversation next week. And then we're looking forward to that. We also have David William Buckland coming back in the next week or two to come back and talk more about his journey, about his faith, and how he sees this world and the news that how he's changed or affected, or how he's planning to make changes in his life. So we look forward to those people on our Truth Talk conversation. If you would like to be a guest on Truth Talk conversation, then by all means, just reach out to us. You can do it here on the chat, or you can go to our website and do a email. You can go straight to the email, info@truthtohear.org, and you can email me and let me know your expertise, your topic of conversation, and what you want to talk about, and some links so I can look you up and see what you're about. And then if all goes well, we'll be having you as our next guest on Truth Talk, a conversation, or Truth Talk, the panel. And then we are now Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. What is up for Wednesday? Thursday, we do Dive Deeper Bible Study. And we are working on the Revelation, the 7 churches. There are 7 churches in the books of Revelation: Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamum, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, Laodicea. And to each one of these churches, Jesus talks about 5 things. He gives a commendation, an attaboy. He gives a reproof, something that they're not quite doing right, an instruction on how to correct the reproof, warnings if they don't. We all know we don't listen, there's going to be warnings. And then blessings to those who overcome the challenges. And we're going to be looking at all of those concepts to each one of the 7 churches. And last week we did the Church of Ephesus, and it was really fun to see how their temple Artemis, right here, depicted, is something that they held in very high esteems in their time. And that's how they made their money, their trade. That's how they had visitors that brought some money into their marketplace. So all of their funds were tied into that. However, now this is what it looks like today. And then we looked at the 5 things that we just talked about. However, next week, or this Thursday, we're going to be talking about the Church of Smyrna. All right, the Church of Smyrna. We're going to be looking at the same things, the background history of Smyrna. We're going to be looking at the people, the trade market. Why do we need to know that? Because we need to know what the people were like. So when we read the Word of God and see the Word that was revealed to John by Jesus, then we can understand how to apply it to us today. We're going to figure out what church are you through this study. And again, let me show you up. Are you the church that loved? Are you the persecuted church? The church of compromise? The corrupt church? I hope not. The dead church? A church with a mission, or a lukewarm church? See, there's seasons in our life, and we might find ourselves in many of those churches. Sometimes we might be a persecuted church, and other times we might be a dead church, or just one sitting on a fence. What does Jesus say to us? What does he warn us about being in that situation and in that way? We will look at that on Thursday. So mark your calendar, set your reminder for Thursday at 2 if you're interested in the Diving Deeper Bible study. And then on Fridays, we have a weekly message. This is what it will look like. So look for this picture if you are interested in the weekly message for Truth to Hear. It's the first of the year, and boy, do we need encouragement. So this week, I'll be talking about my story. How God was there through one of the most difficult times of my life. We're going to go a little bit in depth. I've mentioned it here and there, but we're going to go in depth for about an hour into my story, answer questions, give some hope to those struggling, especially with health issues. But it doesn't have to pertain to just health issues. You know, it is okay to believe in miracles, to ask God for something that is so big that we don't even understand how it can happen. And I found myself in that position about a year and a half ago. This was me. This was my very last recording of my original Truth to Hear weekly messages. The very next day, the next night, I will say, found myself here in the hospital. My face didn't work so well, having a stroke. And it was a very difficult time for me and my family and for the ministry of Truth to Hear. We had a lot of rough days ahead. It took about a year for me to recover from that. And I'll share with you my inside scoops, my inside stories, what it felt like I'll show you this picture of me in rehab. And see, I hid the camera. I'm in a wheelchair, that's why I'm so low to the sink. But I hid not a camera, the mirror, because I couldn't look at myself. And, I'll talk to you about that. When you find yourself in a place that even looking at your reflection is more painful than dealing with the situation. I know that there's people out there that feel that way for whatever reason. It doesn't have to be because you had a stroke and your face was lopsided. It doesn't have to be because you really don't recognize yourself anymore. It could just be because of an internal battle or something that was done to you that you are just ashamed of, that you have a hard time. But you know what? God is with you through those times. And Friday, I hope you join me at 2 p.m. to see how God can be there. We're going to look at scripture verses. We're going to look at how people are used by God to come into your situation. And if we allow them to, they might just have the one hug, the one answer of encouragement, the one right thing to say at the right time that allows us to understand that God truly does care and he truly does see us. Now, we like to also highlight an organization or a YouTuber or just anyone that is encouraging to the surrounding communities, your community. This week, I don't have a new person to highlight, a new organization. So if you have an organization that you would like to be highlighted on Truth to Hear, please let me know and we'll get the information and we'll highlight it next week on This Week with Truth to Hear. And thank you for joining me. I do hope that you find something in this week's lineup that is interesting to you. Let me go over them just so you can see them again. Tomorrow, Truth Talk, Elon Musk and everything COVID. We will catch you up on the COVID-19 situation. Wednesday, Truth Talk, a conversation with a surprise guest. Thursday, Diving Deeper, the Church of Smyrna. And Friday is a message called But God. If you have suggestions, if you would like to be on the panel, if you would like to be in a conversation or have your organization highlighted, please send me an email, info@truthtohear.org. If you have prayer requests, you can still send it to that email as well. Thank you for listening. I do hope that this week goes well with you. May your steps be ordered by the Lord. And I will see you each day on your daily dose of Truth to Hear. Thank you so much.